welcome back for another video. I'm Jess and I'm one of the creative designers here at Sizzix. Today we are talking all things stencil and stamp tool, and I'm actually going to finish off this gorgeous little chair that I've been making for one of my best friend's little girl's birthday. So I've already started it off, but I'm going to add to it and complete it during this video, and we're going to be using our amazing stencil and stamp tool and some of our brand new chapter 1 stencils and dies. So keep on watching. Okay, so I have my stencil and stamp tool ready to go, and we're going to be stenciling first. So I'm going to be using the Geo Background stencil, and this is from chapter 1. And if you're not familiar with our stencils, they come in 4 separate layers. So each layer has a little number at the top, and you layer them up from 1 to 4, and then you get this gorgeous pattern, which is the one on the front of the packaging. I'm going to change up the colours a little bit, but obviously that's completely up to you, and I'll show you how these work when we use the tool. So what you want to do is, with your stencil and stamp tool, you want to take off the stamp plate, because we're not stamping right now, we don't need that right now. And then you're going to take the stencil adapter, and this is where our stencils are going to attach, so just these 2 sections here. Let's place down our card. Now this is our sticky grid sheet base, so I'm going to place my card down. This is a smooth white piece of cardstock, and this is going to attach to that sticky grid sheet underneath, so it means that my project isn't going to go anywhere when I'm stenciling. Then I'm going to attach my stencil adapter, and then I'm going to grab number 1. So there's a little etched number at the top, and you should be able to see it when you move it around, and then you just attach it onto those 2 little notches, and then when you're ready to move on to the next layer, you just plop on your second layer, and everything will be perfectly aligned because of this stencil adapter and the way that it attaches onto the tool. So I'm going to work from light to dark colours. I've got some of our distress inks here, so these are the Tim Holtz Ranger distress inks. They're great for this, they work beautifully, and you can use our multi-tool with the blending head attachment on there, and you can work in circular motions and pop down the colour in between those spaces in the stencil. And I'm going to work from light to dark with some kind of pink, yellow and orange tones. So let's get started. Okay, so the last layer is all done, and I can take that off, and you have that gorgeous pattern there. Don't worry about if it's gone over the edge. We're not worrying about that because we're going to actually die cut it, but you could always tape off the edges if you want to. But you have that amazing layered pattern, all from light to dark. Stunning. Okay, so we can take that off of our stamp base. So just peel that off, and then we can move that to one side. And this is where I'm going to bring in, I forgot the name now, Geo Frames and Borders die by Lisa Jones. And I'm actually going to die cut this design. So to make that chair, you probably want to do this a few times over, just so you've got a few different patterns to cut out. So I'm just going to take the largest kind of flower, but there's also a smaller one as well. So once you've done a few of them, you can die cut multiples of the small and the larger one. And I'm going to pop that through my switch machine because it is an A4 size piece of paper, so I can fit this through no problem, and just sandwich that up just like a thinlet, and then run that through the machine. then once that is all cut out, I'm just going to put my machine to one side. You have that gorgeous cut with that gorgeous geo background design in there. And this is essentially what's going to go onto your chair. So I've got my chair here. I'm just going to place that here. And I've actually done a mixture of these patterned ones, and then I've also done normal colour die cuts. So just taken some of our regular cardstock, I've got some down here, in kind of a mixture of colours, so sticking to my kind of pink, orange, yellow theme, but obviously you could change up the colour scheme depending on who you're gifting it to, what the colour scheme of their bedroom is, but my friend's little girl has a gorgeous like rusty orange and a pink bedroom, so that's the kind of vibe that I'm going for. But you can die cut multiple different pieces from the Lisa Jones die, so you can have the larger sunflower, then there's extra detail elements, and you can even layer them up together, and you can actually cut this really nice thin outline. So let's take one of our flowers. I've actually got a smaller one which I might stick on, and then we're going to place a sunflower or a sun, whatever you see it as, on the top, and I think I'm going to stamp on that. So I've got one of the smaller ones here that I've actually placed that board around, and you may notice that on the back here I've even taken this strip kind of star design and I've placed this on here. So I'll show you, I'm just going to attach it with glue. So you could use our express glue, you could also use something like Photo Mount, which is a little bit more secure, but obviously to make this actually usable you're going to end up wanting to go over this with a thin layer of clear varnish. So you can get that kind of stuff from hardware stores, craft stores, and you just want to apply a thin layer of varnish over the top, and that is going to secure everything in there. Now the only thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some scissors, which I've got here. So if it's going slightly over the edge, you can even mark out where that is. So potentially with a pencil, I'm actually going to take that off. But just with scissors, I'm just going to snip along there. So I've now got a nice clean edge for the edge of that chair. And that's just going to stick nice and firmly. And then don't worry if it's got some edges that are coming up, because we're going to apply that layer of varnish over the top anyway. I'm not going to do that in this video, but to give it to my friend's little girl, I am going to do that, but I want to do it outside because you don't want to do varnishing in a non-ventilated area. So please do that in a ventilated area. So I'm going to do that off camera outside once I've finished. But to finish it off with all of the die cuts and the stenciling and stamping, I'm going to add that gorgeous sun on the top. So I've actually already pre-cut my little sunshine using that die as well. I'm just going to move that chair, and I think I want to stamp a little sentiment just in the center just to make it extra cute, because why not? So I'm going to bring back my stencil and stamp tool. I'm going to place that gorgeous little sun on, and then I'm going to grab my stamp plate, okay, and I'm going to grab a sentiment stamp. So this is one of mine, which is terrible that I've forgotten the name, Spring Bloom Sentiments from chapter 1. There's some really nice kind of positive theme stamp sentiments on there. I'm going to take the very fitting one that says, "You are my sunshine," and I'm going to place that in the center, and we're going to stamp that into the center so we can utilize that gorgeous stamp element as well. Now I've got a couple of colors of permanent iCarvel ink. I think I might use the orange kind of shade so it shows up nice, but you could just use a black, or you could even go that extra mile and use embossing powder. That would look really cute. So I'm just going to apply the ink and then attach that and stamp that in the center. And don't worry if it's not perfect the first time around, because I'm pretty happy with that, but just to show you, you can go in a second time, add more ink, and stamp it again, and everything's going to be in exactly the same place because of that sticky grid sheet, because of the registration at the top. You're going to get that perfect stamp every single time. And how cute is that? So we just got that little stamp element just in the center of that gorgeous little sunshine, and that is going to go on the back of my chair. So let's just bring that in again. A little bit of glue again. And I'm not worrying too much about this section. Could use spray mount if I wanted to, but we are going to go over it to fully secure it and make it usable. So I'm just going to place that on the back like so. How adorable is that? I'm trying to do that from an angle to make sure that that's level, so I really hope it is. There we go. Make sure it's nice and secure. And there we have our almost finished chair. It is finished in the sense of this video, like I said, just go over it with that clear layer of varnish, or even like a resin or something like that, and that would completely finish it off. But I think this is so super cute, really easy to achieve, and just on a old upcycled white little chair, or maybe you got it from a charity shop or something like that, just to add a little bit of colour to a little one's bedroom, I think would be adorable. You could even then add a cushion. So I've got a little cushion down here. You can pop a little cushion on there. It hides some of the design, but you get the idea, and you can make it really super cute. So other ways that you can use that stencil in particular, and the stencil and stamp tool, I've got a couple of other projects down here. So alongside something like that chair, just making sure that's glued on and nice and secure. Alongside that chair, you could end up making something like this. So this is a scrapbook page or a framed page that you could give to a loved one for a birthday or a special occasion. But I've actually stenciled that geo background design on the background, and I actually taped off the side, so I had a really nice clean line to that background. I believe there might be a reel out there with this kind of design and project in a little bit more detail, so definitely go and check that out if you want to see how I did this in a little bit more detail. But just for reference, the kind of thing that you can do, and then you could also even just do something really simple like a card. So this is just in a little bit of a different colorway. I'll place that down there. Similar kind of stencils and stamps, just by changing up the colorway and how you're using them, what you're using them for, the different things that you can create just from that one simple design. So thank you so much for joining me today, guys. If you do get your hands on this stencil or the stamp, or even with a different stencil, and you create something like an upcycled chair or a scrapbook page, whatever it might be, please share a photo or a comment down below in this video or across our socials. We love to see it here at Sizzix, and hopefully we can share some inspiration across us all, because I love seeing your guys' makes and sharing with all of you. So thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one, but until then, stay safe and keep crafting. Thanks, bye.